Ahora sí. You can commence now.
Ready?
Yes, ready.
Hello, my name is Gerald. I'm from the United States, and I've had some experiences. Unfortunately, I've not been able to film any of them yet. I came 7 hours in an airplane to hopefully have another close encounter. Hasn't happened yet, but I continue to look. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to share some of the encounters that I've had all together. And then for those of you that only speak Spanish, she's going to do the rest. So when I was 8 years old, I was going from Ohio into Pennsylvania. My sister and brother-in-law were driving, and my sister's 20 years older than I am. So I was about 7, she'd have been 27. And we come up over a hill right at dusk, and I see lights over a tree, and for some reason, even at a young age in the early 70s, I already knew the term UFO. And so I remember looking, and it was very close to trees. I don't know airplanes, but I thought, well, that looks like a UFO. And I don't say anything because there's no way that's a UFO. And like 1-2 seconds later, I look back, and it does not look like an airplane. So I said, look, a UFO. And they did similar to what I did. They went, oh yeah. And they looked back and they go, oh, wait a minute. So as we were on the road, the craft flew in front of our car, and a cell phone is a great example of what it looked like. It was definitely not a saucer. It was not round like this. It was very similar here, and I wouldn't know the distance, maybe 70 meters by 40 meters. And it was about 1 story tall, and there were no wings, there was no sound. It was all black, and there were 6 lights on the bottom, only white lights. And as it's flying this direction, in the side was a light on only one place, and you could see a control panel in there. And it was so close that if there was a man, a woman, a dog, us, them, easily could have seen and could have waved. It was not too far away. And I can't say this part without laughing, but I say I hope they weren't after our best, because it went over a trailer in the trailer park and it tilted down. In America, the people who don't have a lot of money, who don't go to college, that's where they live, in a trailer park in the United States. So I say my goofy brother-in-law, because he never stopped driving. He's just like, oh yeah. And we continue down the highway, and I watch it from every window. Someone earlier asked me, was it just my experience, before I got to tell them that we all saw it. So it wasn't just mine. So that happened in the early 70s, and have no more experience until 2018. And I was in Trujillo, and I happened to take a photo of Temple del Sol, or Huaca del Sol, and accidentally have a UFO in the background. So from that, it's taken me 6 years to come back a few years ago. So I went back to Trujillo, took some more photos, and I got some more very interesting things. All of my photos of stuff I've never saw. They just happen to be in a photo. So I have had a few other experiences that were not taped. I often travel into Mexico by car, and right below Tijuana is a city called Ensenada. I met a gentleman there years ago who told me a lot of stories. He was a child there, his father was a fisherman. And I happened to go back there one night, and it's very hard to comprehend this. So the land kind of goes out, kind of like the shape of Florida, in this little area. If you're familiar with Ensenada, it's where the El Bufadora is. And just after dark, so I sit to face back, the ocean splits to where Ensenada is, and I saw something catch my eye, and it was a color, and it was only red and white, it was like a firework, and it kind of popped in my direction. So I think it was red first and then white, but it was very small distance, and it kind of exploded and was gone in 1 second. So I happened to see this, and I thought maybe I should look out over the ocean. And in that area, if there was any boat in the water, it would have a light. You could see the light, and you could say, oh, that is over the boat. There were no boats. So 2 or 3 of these unique explosion things, no sound. So when I looked out over the ocean, and just up a little bit, but close, was 4 or 5 more. And it was just, and gone. Happened for not even 5 minutes. So of course I went back the next night at the same time to see if I could watch it again, but it did not decide to show up again the next night because I was ready to record. I did not know it was going to go on. I did not get my camera out. So 2 Octobers ago, I come out to this beach and I meet Caesar, and we eat supper, and he speaks English, so it helped greatly. So we're on the beach, and we see something just after dark that was not flashing, and he says, oh, look there. I said, okay. Well, I put my head down, and he said, oh, did you see it flash? And I said, no, honestly, I did, and I put my head down. And then if he not say this, I would have never seen it. But then he goes, look above your head. And straight above my head, there was a scattered clouds. There was one cloud, and when I looked up, it flashed yellow. So I've seen photos of a beam right below it, but this flashed yellow, larger than a beam, for a split second, like a camera flash, and it only came down maybe 20 meters, nowhere close to me. It was up there. So it flashed, and we never saw a craft. We never saw a helicopter, airplane, UFO. I'm not sure in his story what he saw that made him point up there. And he says, Kodak, they take photo of you, they know you're here. So that experience happened. There's a group called MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, and every country has it, many large cities. Last summer, I finally went to one in Colorado. It was a picnic in the park day, and as I was talking to one person, a gentleman named Miguel was listening, and he heard me say photos in Peru. So then he came to me at the end of this long picnic day, and then we ended up talking for like 4 hours. And when I came here, actually, I said, hey, who should I talk to? And he said, oh, you should talk to Dongo. And so that's how I ended up reaching out to him now. So he told me some unique experiences he had as a child. In America, the military threat is back after World War II, after America dropped 2 bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, is when the UFOs really started appearing in the United States. And many of them would come over a nuclear plant and turn the nukes on or off. And so it was a big military possible problem. There's a map of all of our nuclear installations that anybody can see. So Miguel and I drove out 3 hours out of Denver, spent the night sitting outside watching the skies. And at 4 a.m., as we looked off, we knew the stars that we saw up until that point. As we both went to switch our seats, we happened to see some lights we didn't recognize, and we said, oh, look at that. And there were 3 lights in a row, and they were descending down to the earth. And it was similar, like if you ever watch an airport, a plane comes in, there's another one a minute behind, another one behind. And so we see this, it was like right at 4 a.m. And there's a little hill, so we can't tell if this is 5 miles away or 10 kilometers or even more. And so just white like a star, no other colors, and slowly come down. We're like, wow, that's interesting. But as soon as the first one disappeared, another one was in line, just like an airport. And then it come down, and we're just kind of stunned. This happened for 15 minutes. There must have been 15 or 20 of these in one straight line that came down from above. We never saw them do anything funky. They just descended straight down. So there, in USA, there's a place called Cheyenne Mountain. And after our Second World War, they built this incredible complex inside the mountains just out of Denver where it could sustain a bomb hit. They built the whole thing in a mountain on a big shock absorber. So if there was a nuclear war with us and Russia, our politicians would be safe in the mountain, but the rest of us, we'd have a problem. So anyway, there's an army base and an Air Force base right in front to protect it. Everyone knows, so it kind of really doesn't have a purpose anymore. But it's on the Continental Divide Mountains that come all the way from Alaska, Canada, all the way down, I think into Mexico or close. So down that mountain range is a very unique place where actually the UFO watchtower is, and people have some sightings. So I was out, I'm looking at the mountain, and again, same time, 4 a.m., and just over the top of the mountain, a white light, like on an airplane, showed up, and it came for about 5 seconds, and then it went out. And again, I'm not ready to record. I don't think it's gonna happen again. So it went out, I'm just looking, and then here comes another one like that. And then another one. There was probably about 10, but a light would come on and go off, and I did see one of them that came up and it turned the light off. It's almost like an airplane taking off or landing. And then I did see some kind of craft slowly go off to the right. So I go back a few weeks later, so I think, okay, where on the mountain did this happen? So I come around to this side now, and at midnight I saw the same phenomenon. So did not see anything come in, but the light turned on, just like I saw over there, for about 5 seconds, and then it went out. But this was right before this little peak of a mountain. So this time it happened again with 7 or 8 craft. So this mountain, to hike up to that point, is a pretty good hike. And as I talked to a kid in that town, he said that he was led to this unique little town because there was an alien base in the mountain there. And when he told me, I said, really, where? And he pointed to the exact same spot where I'd seen this phenomenon. So many stories talk about the craft going into a mountain or coming out of a mountain. And again, this is by air travel, 20 minutes from Cheyenne Mountain. And I saw this phenomenon 2 different times. And I would say the second time the craft was turning on its lights, approaching the mountain, and the other day it seemed like they were leaving at a different time. There's no airports around there, nothing, shouldn't even been one thing at 4 a.m. right over the mountain on the weekend, and same with the other day. So those, trying to think if I had another encounter. Nope, that pretty much covers it. I'm gonna quit talking now and we're gonna see what the translators have to say.